Welcome in, everybody, to Titans Tube. My name is Justin. This is Jake, and we are here to preview the Titans early this week because they play on Thursday Night Football against probably, it shouldn't be our least or our most hated team in the NFL, Jake. I mean, this is a good topic of discussion, especially in these trying times of 2020. Which team do we hate most? A lot of people would say the Colts because they are responsible for a lot of pain and suffering throughout the years for Titans fans. So big time matchup, Jake. Excited about this one. We have seen a slight getting over the Colts hump in recent years as we go back to last year. It was our first, we split the season series last year. They beat us in Nashville in week 2, but last year we got over the hump and beat them in a huge game in Indianapolis. Who can forget Ty Smith's field goal block return for a touchdown? Khalif Raymond coming out party, catching a deep bomb from TNF to put the game away. Such an exciting win. So many great moments from that game. We won that game 31-17. And here we go again, Jake. First game of the year against these Indianapolis Colts. And here they are right at 5-3, right in our way again. I hate them, Jake.
There's just something about that blue horseshoe, man. I don't know what it is. It just kind of strikes the fear of God into Titans fans. You know, Peyton Manning's long gone. Andrew Luck is long gone. It's okay. We have old man Rivers coming in and trying to pioneer this offense. In terms of hated teams, Justin, I don't know. I want to say the Jaguars just because of that, you know, that slight era there where it was Thursday night every year and it was, you know, Duval and all that thing.
Yeah. Only when,
but I don't know. I don't know who my most hated team is as far as Titans rival. I guess it would default to the Colts.
Yeah, only when the Jags are competitive and are winning games do they. Suddenly, it seems like they take the top spot in all Titans fans' minds. Like, I hate these guys, but usually they're comfortably at the bottom of the division and we're beating them consistently. So usually they're just like an afterthought whenever I think of most hated teams in those instances. But the Colts are just always there. They're always beating us. They're always owning the AFC South, except I guess in this last 5-6 years, it has been Houston kind of. But historically speaking, the Colts have our number. But like I said, trying to get over this Colts hump and getting some more consistent wins here against them in recent years. So we're going to break it down. I'm excited, Jake. Thursday Night Football, prime time for the lead in the AFC South. Old man Rivers, like you said, coming to town. Does he still have it in him? We did, talking about throwing back to last time we played the Colts, we also beat the Chargers last year. Phillip Rivers was the quarterback. So
it was Tannehill's first start
for
the team.
Yeah, that was the goal line Melvin Gordon fumble. Jarrell Casey recovered it. Such a wild, insane win that we probably snuck away with there. But got a win against Rivers last year, and he was the guy that we couldn't get over the hump for the longest time as well. So these two teams and quarterbacks are now coming together to form a team where
a super team against the Titans.
Yeah, super team against the Titans, exactly. But hey, it's a weird kind of story this time. The Titans kind of have that top offense, and the Colts have that top defense, where historically those were kind of flipped when these two teams would meet. So a lot of change has undergone these two teams the past few years, but hey, they were still battling it out for the top of the division. So here we go. Let's break it down, Jake. What do you got first? What are we going to be seeing?
So we're going to be looking classic Titans Tube preview video, Titans passing offense versus the Colts pass defense. I did want to point out, yes, I've read a lot of fears and anxieties about the Colts having just the absolute number one defense in the NFL. In terms of yards allowed, they're the number one overall. And then you'll see once we get into these categories, they are top 3, if not, number 1 overall. But I will say the Titans have a number 1 overall ranking in their sleeve, and it's that they are number 1 in turnover ratio.
Ooh,
and that is going to need to keep happening if the Titans keep wanting to win games, especially against these really quality opponents that are, coming up in the schedule in Indianapolis, Baltimore, and down the line.
Yeah.
So the Titans keep kind of tumbling in pass offensive rankings. They're down to 20th now at 237 yards a game. We saw Tannehill have a slow start last week, and I don't think he can afford that because we're going up against the third-ranked pass defense, and they only give up 206 yards a game. This secondary highlighted by a great Xavier Rhodes at cornerback. Opposite him is Kenny Moore, and then TJ Carey comes in and makes good contributions for that team. Kari Willis and Julian Blackman are on the back end at safety. They're very, very solid. This secondary group has 9 picks on the year, Justin. And that's another stat, like the sacks last week for the Bears. This secondary is getting picks, other than the Malcolm Butler splash game. And then, it seems like we always have linebackers or maybe Jeffrey Simmons diving for picks,
Yeah, right.
But it's a really solid unit on the back end for this Colts team.
Yeah.
And this Titans offense is going to have to start a lot faster than they did last week at the Bears, because, while the Colts, and we talk crap on Old Man Rivers, but I feel like they have a better offense. So this Titans passing attack can't sputter early. I think Tannehill started like 0 of 5 or 0 of 6 in the last game, and we just can't have that.
He had 10 completions the entire game. Of course, your passing numbers, passing yards per game numbers are going to drop if you only complete 10 passes. So, yeah, you'd like to see an improvement in that department.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's going to be a tough matchup. Arthur Smith is going to have to get creative in this one, Justin, because we'll get into the Colts rushing defense, but no shocker there. They're also top 3 in that category.
Yeah.
It's going to be, can Tannehill continue to be the guy that we need him to be? We might need, more than 10 completions this week, but hopefully that comes to fruition.
Need to see a bounce back game from Corey Davis. He's got to be involved. He's got to bring his hands with him, as he did. It seemed like he had 2 drops at least in that game last week. Gonna need him to step up. Gonna need a big, more frequent appearances, hopefully, from Jonnu Smith. Can always kind of rely on some Anthony Firks downs throughout the game, though. He seems to be getting pretty consistent. At least 1, maybe 2 per game. It feels like he gets. And AJ Brown, he's got a tough matchup against Xavier Rhodes. But he had a great game, and I assume Kyle Fuller was the Bears' number 1 cornerback was in coverage against him. That would make sense. I didn't really look for that specifically, but if he had success against Fuller, then he should have success against Rhodes, because I kind of see them as pretty equal number 1 cornerbacks. Still really good though, and it's going to be tough going. And like you said, Arthur Smith gonna need to get creative. Maybe bring out some plays that we haven't used or put on film yet this year. Because defense is stout. This defense is definitely stout for the Colts.
Yeah, and in this first one, I think I'm going to give the slight advantage to Indy. And I might say slight, that's probably a fan bias, red flag again. But yeah, it seemed like last week it was kind of the same package of like 10 plays that they ran over and over and over again. Either, Derrick Henry left, Derrick Henry right, play action, AJ Brown crossing route at 10 yards. It kind of seemed like that was just the formula that they ran all day. And
right.
I like what you said about, let's see a play we haven't seen before, because it kind of was getting repetitive last week. So I'm going to give the advantage to the Colts passing defense in this one, just because we need to see, at the end of last year, and going back to that game in Indy where Ryan Tannehill really kind of cemented himself as the leader of this team. We need to see a performance like that, I think. We're going to have to put up points. We're going to have to move the ball down the field a little more efficiently. So give the advantage to the Colts here.
We'll give that to the Colts, yeah. Defense is no joke. And moving on to the Titans rushing offense. Against the Colts rush defense, they're no slouch either there as well. This front 7 is possibly better than Chicago's front 7. And we know that Henry probably put up his worst game of the season in terms of yards and yards per carry against the Bears last week. The Colts are 3rd in the league, giving up 83 yards per game on the ground. Titans come in at 6th though for rushing offense per game at 147 yards a game. But yeah, this front 7, it's led by some solid veterans. Justin Houston, longtime Kansas City Chief, is still producing for him. DeForest Buckner was a great offseason signing they got from, I think, the 49ers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, he's doing work there, making things happen in the middle there. And Danico Autry, also a playmaker for him, also a great stout defensive lineman. And this linebacker group, man, it's got to be one of the best in the NFL. All 3 of these linebackers are top 3 on their team in tackles with Darius Leonard. I mean, dude has been a nightmare for us since he came into the league. He single-handedly seemed like he shut down our offense in that win and get in game a couple years ago with Blaine Gabbert. Oh, dude, I still have nightmares about him. And Bobby Okereke back there. Yeah. And Anthony Walker has been there, and he's a great underrated linebacker too. I feel like a lot of people don't realize how great this linebacker core is outside of Darius Leonard. So it's going to be tough going. It's going to be maybe even tougher going for Derrick Henry. Our O-line has got to come ready to play. Pretty sure Roger Saffold will be good to go for this game.
That's huge.
We already lost Lawan, and we can't lose our next big money lineman in Roger Saffold, who I think is having a pretty good year. It seems like he gets dinged a lot. He gets dinged a lot in like every other game, but he's yet to miss a game, thank God. So hopefully he'll be close enough to full strength that he can be effective and give and push for Derrick Henry. But yeah, I think it feels like he's got to have a big day, or he's got to be effective so that our offense doesn't just become one-dimensional with Tannehill. We've got to leave some options open for Arthur Smith to feel comfortable moving the ball, whether through the air or on the ground. But we're going to have to, be the more physical team. It's going to be who can get the push at the line of scrimmage. Obviously Derrick Henry's the second leading rusher in the NFL. We've seen a lot of success with our O-line so far, even without Taylor Lewan. But still, man, this front seven, I don't know if I'm ready to give us the advantage here either. I mean, if you look at the numbers, you look at the personnel, you just look at the trend. They held Baltimore down last week. I mean, Baltimore put up 17 points of offense. Baltimore got a defensive touchdown to put up to make that final, the 24-10 final. But you think Baltimore, you think one of the more explosive offenses, especially running the ball, and they kind of handled Lamar Jackson for the most part. He kind of got it going later in the game there, but in the first half, they shut him out. Their only touchdown was that defensive touchdown. So if they can shut down the Ravens rushing attack, you got to think that they can, do similar things against Derrick Henry and the Titans rushing attack. So kind of nervous to call this one too, but I would say the Colts would have to get the advantage here. Do you agree?
It's a definite strength on strength. I really want to say it's a push because I believe in Derrick Henry, and we say it almost every week that calendar is getting a little later in the year as we go on here, Justin.
True.
And Derrick Henry gets rolling later in the year. He's going to have to be that guy. He's going to have to be the king this week, I think, because he can't put out 68 yards and the Titans expect to win this game. It's just, I don't see it happening. He's going to have to probably top 100 in this one if the Titans want to win this ball game. And I like what you said about being the more physical team, the more imposing team. And it's going to come down to Mike Vrabel getting this team ready to go. And I mean, the team takes on Mike Vrabel's persona a lot, more often than not, would you say?
Yeah, for sure.
And we're going to find out, man. I think very, very early in the year, it might have even been our season preview video, that this year is all about winning the AFC South, at least in my opinion. It's time to get over that hump. It's time to beat these teams we're supposed to beat. I'm not saying we're supposed to beat this Colts team by any stretch of the imagination, but this is our chance, Justin. This is a chance to go up 2 games and then, get them again in another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's going to be huge, huge, huge. And it's on a prime time stage. It's time for the Titans to kind of rise up and win that crucial AFC South matchup that they have, that has escaped them in the past several years. Yeah. But anyways, going back to the rushing attack, I would love to see this offensive line get the push that they did, maybe against Cincinnati or back, against Houston, albeit those are worse defenses by a long shot. But you would like to see that early push, that early physicality, and we need Derrick Henry to get in space to be effective. So I'm going to give the Colts the slight advantage here, but I would love to see Derrick Henry be the guy, be the king. And I'm hoping he gets over 100. I'm really hoping.
Yeah, me too. And hey, if there's a time for Derrick Henry to get over 100, his bread and butter is Nissan Stadium on a Thursday night. Just ask
in all navy, in the all navy unis.
Yeah, in the all navy. So that's got to be done on purpose. The Titans know, like, this is where Henry is at his best. Let's get in the all navy. We're on Thursday night. We're in Nashville. This is where he peaks, and it's late in the season now. We're just over halfway through the season. We're in our 9th game, but it still counts. It's time for the tractor to get his winter steam rolling. So hopefully he brings it.
Good.
So I would call it. Oh shit, yeah. All right. Well, slight advantage. I would almost say the All Navy plus the Thursday night. Maybe those external factors give us the push there. But what are you gonna do?
I like the viewpoint. I like the optimism there.
Okay. Well, then we'll call it a push. We'll be super optimistic.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Suck it, Colts. It's a Colts hate week, and
Colts
we're calling it. So Jake, you got the next one here. We got the Titans pass defense against this old man and his 38-year-old arm. How's he doing? Is he going to be effective or not?
Well, Indy, I was surprised to read the statistic that they are 14th in pass offense in terms of yards a game. They have 258. But I feel like I've watched a couple of Colts games that really doesn't feel that way. I mean, Phillip Rivers can still make throws and make plays, but they seem like more stagnant than, you'd expect the 14th, a top half passing offense to look.
No big, explosive plays, a lot of dink and dunk, over the middle of the field, 10, 15 yards deep. And that's kind of how Rivers operates.
Yeah, exactly. And that being, okay, the Titans pass defense, not great this year. They're 27th, giving up 275 yards a game. But they did show great strides last week, bringing in Desmond King, being kind of more on the same. And we've seen it in past weeks. It doesn't matter who they were going up against. Jonathan Joseph was getting toasted. Malcolm Butler was getting toasted every other week, Yeah. So, and we saw them make strides, and Breon Borders coming in on that other side, playing 100% of the snaps and doing a pretty damn good job. So I have cautious optimism coming into this one because yes, Phillip Rivers does not scare me as a quarterback. I'm going to say that and probably eat those words for lunch on Friday afternoon, but we'll see. T.Y. Hilton has not been himself this year. He is going to probably return to action. I think he missed last week's game against Baltimore. But he's also accompanied by Michael Pittman Jr., who's a young guy, and then Zach Pascal, I think, he's been there a couple years, but he's another younger guy.
Yeah.
We will have notorious Titan killer Jack Doyle at tight end is going to be probably out for this game. Ooh. He's listed as doubtful, but they've said they're not expecting him to play. So
Thank
Trey
goodness.
Burton is going to be stepping up in relief there. But yeah, this Titans secondary still a little bit cause for concern. Cautious optimism, especially after the performance last week. It's looking like no Adoree Jackson yet. We're recording this on Wednesday, and I believe Wednesday, at about noonish. And I believe the deadline to activate him to the roster from IR is, I think, 3 o'clock Central Time.
I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah.
So it's going to be, he might be activated today, but I wouldn't expect him to play because he hasn't practiced yet this week. So it's going to be a we'll see kind of situation. The Titans pass rush excelled last week against a very non-mobile quarterback in Nick Foles. And so maybe that's the strategy here. Another non-mobile quarterback and Phil Rivers, as we saw last week on that flopping tackle attempt. Not a lot of
that was fantastic.
Spring in his step, maybe. So hopefully this pass rush can get home. I think that's going to be a huge, huge factor in this one. I'm always worried about T.Y. Hilton, even though he hasn't been himself this year, just because we've seen highlight after highlight of T.Y. Hilton beating us deep. So we'll see, Justin. The numbers favor the Colts in this one again. But it's all about this pass rush getting home. And I don't know. What do you see here?
I do want to shout out one of their receivers that I think scares me the most, and that's their tight end, Mo Alley Cox, who's a 6'7" tight end who should be in the NBA and not playing tight end for the Indianapolis Colts. I think he could be a matchup problem. He's kind of dinged up a little bit.
I think he's questionable coming in.
Yeah, but I think he was trending. He missed a practice, but then he was limited, and now he's going to probably be full today. So I'm expecting him to play. But yeah, he's a guy that scares me. But yeah, overall, I think once again, it kind of comes down to the pass rush. Can we get to Rivers? He's a hard quarterback to sack because he's a smart player. He gets the ball out of his hands. He already has like a backup plan in his mind of where to go with the ball. But then if you shut down like the backup plan, he's going to throw you some, and he'll throw you a pick or two. He will force stuff. He would prefer to throw a pick than to get sacked. I think he just hates getting sacked that much. So he's
I like that theory. I mean, that's kind of spot on, right?
Yeah, there's a Titans defender right there, but there's a guy breathing down my neck. Just get it out. Just get it out of the ball. I got 9 kids to take care of. I can't deal with this. So pass rush is going to be huge to make him just to think quick, go down his options. So hopefully the coverage can hold up long enough. But yeah, I don't know. I would almost want to call this a push too, because there's no true weapons unless TY comes back and is effective, even though he's kind of having a down year anyway when he was playing. Their weapons, I guess, none of them really jump out at you and scare you really. So, I mean, Rivers does do a good job of spreading the ball around, but I don't know. I feel like this could be a decent game for our pass defense, which seems crazy to say after Cincinnati, but I don't know.
Cautious optimism after.
Yeah, maybe I've bought into a lot of lost or false hope after that terrible Chicago Bears offense was pretty easy for our defense to manage. But I don't know. Maybe it's got to partly be they've figured some things out. So, man, I don't know. I would want to call this a push, but I don't know.
Push,
are you ready to
slight
make
advantage, Colts. But old man Rivers is going to throw you a couple. You would hope. So let's hope that turnover margin, I think, is I stated at the top of the episode, is going to come into play here. If they can get a pick or two, or hell, maybe even 3 off of Phil Rivers, that's going to be a major factor in this game. Especially field position is going to be big. I think this, frankly, could be a slugfest, Justin. I wouldn't expect this. Or I wouldn't be surprised, rather, to see this game be kind of like 10-7 at half, or, like 13-7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because, again, this Colts offense doesn't scare me. We're going to get into the rushing attack of the Colts. But anyways, I'll give the slight advantage to the Colts. But, we're being optimistic and Titans fans here. So we'll give it a push.
So we've got two advantages for the Colts and 1 push. If I'm correct, I think we will get this advantage, though. I'm just going to go ahead and already call it. But this Titans run defense against the Colts rush offense. I think the Titans had a great run defense last week against Chicago.
Fantastic.
And I think they were okay against the Bengals before that, were they not? I can't remember
because
Joe Burrow
was. It was more so Joe Burrow.
Yeah, so I'm sure because what he was doing, if the Bengals had success on the ground, it was because he was opening things up. Passing the ball. But this Colts, like you said, this Colts rush offense doesn't scare you for some reason. I'm not sure what's happened to their O-line, because from what I've heard, or some ESPN analysts, or maybe some Colts fans on social media, that the O-line has kind of taken a little bit of a regression for some reason, and I don't know why, because they still have their key pieces. Obviously, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly's a solid center. Costanzo, their left tackle, is a great left tackle. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're still considered elite this year, but they haven't been that impressive on the ground, ranking 22nd in rush yards per game at 122 rush yards per game, where the Titans are 17th in the league in rush defense at 119 yards per game. So this seems like this is a pretty even matchup on paper. Jonathan Taylor is their lead guy. He's just getting about 4 yards a carry, which is average, decent, nothing crazy or outstanding though. The rookie from Wisconsin. They had Marlon Mack, who went out earlier in the season with an injury, but they still have a nice group of running backs with Jonathan Taylor. Nyheim Hines, speaking of the passing defense, could be a problem out of the backfield. Yes. He's had some success through the air, so definitely want to give him a shout out. And Jordan Wilkins, I think, is the third guy that they use that comes in and out. So it's kind of a running back by committee, but Taylor is their lead guy as far as rushing the ball. When Himes comes in, they're probably going to be passing the ball. But yeah, all those guys have been effective and can see success if our run defense doesn't come to play. But we got Jeff Simmons, so we know how that's going to turn out, right?
I just want to shout out Sports Fan Entertainment. He does the Big Jeff Simmons.
Yeah.
I love that, man. It kind of just sums it up. He is just that dude, you know. He could be a bouncer at a club or wherever, and he just would fit right in.
Yeah, that's going to be what he needs to do after he retires as a bouncer at a club. They're not even going to have any guests walk through the door, even if they have tickets. They're just going to be like, I'm not going to go in that building. Do you see that man?
The guy scares me. Yeah, that is a large human at the door.
Speaking of another large human, Jadeveon Clowney should be returning for this game. He has been practicing after he missed the Chicago game last week, and we'll probably need him for our pass rush to get some more help against this good O-line on paper. We did look up the Rivers sacked stats, and he's only been sacked 7 times. So they have been good at pass protection, and a lot of that does have to do with Rivers have the ability to get the ball out of his hands, making quick reads. So as far as pressures go, I'm not sure how great they've been. But yeah, only giving up 7 sacks through 8 games is pretty dang good. So we're definitely going to need some help with Jadeveon Clowney in the rotation there. Hopefully he can continue getting pressures and hit home finally. Clowney, please hit home on one of these one day. It's what we paid you for.
Yep.
But yeah, showed great progress. Last week the Titans front 7 did. And I think they also got like a 4th and 1 stop. So like good promising things to see. Hopefully they can continue that trend of getting stops on 3rd down, getting off the field. Trying to get back to that league average of 3rd down conversion rate. So yeah, we'll see. And I think, considering where both teams are right now, where they've kind of been trending on the ground here, I would give the advantage to the Titans rush D. Jeff Simmons getting Clowney back. Daquan Jones is improving his play. Roberson getting some pressures, knocking down some passes. So our D-line is coming along nicely there.
Yeah, and I thought, the linebackers played well. Rashawn Evans is kind of trending upwards a little bit after a slow start. Jayon Brown is definitely trending upwards after a slow start. And I was going to shout out Daquan Jones has been a force to be reckoned with in the past couple of games. He's really stepped his game up. And then, obviously Big Jeff is going to be an absolute terror every single game.
Yeah, and
for the O-line.
Harold Landry, a big time piece on that front 7 too, who's good against the run too. So yeah,
no doubt. I mean, they held Chicago to 45 yards rushing. If you subtract the fake punt last week by Barkevius Mingo, he was their leading rusher at halftime with 11 yards.
Good call shouting that out. That was crazy.
No worries. But just 45 yards last week. They've been trending. This run defense has been trending upward after a shaky start. And we're seeing them climb the rankings each week. Now they're middle of the pack after, they were 29th, low to mid 20s for a while there. So you hope to see that progression continue. And I'm going to give the Titans the advantage here. I think they can do a lot of good things in run stop. And hopefully, that short yardage run stopping continues for this team.
All right. I like it. We get the advantage there. So finally, Jake, we can talk about special teams. As always, this was such a wonderful, exciting thing to talk about for Titans fans. But last week was good, right?
Yes, last week was good.
Was there any mess ups or anything at all that we messed up? I don't think.
Nothing horrible. I mean, giving up the fake punt, you could argue.
Sure,
but right. I will shout out the Bears special teams unit. That was a hell of a drawn up play. It looked good. Yeah. It was fluid. It was a great fake out. So I got to just give the Bears credit for that. I would think the other 31 NFL teams would also fall for that punt in the situation.
I fell for it on my TV. I was like, what is happening? And there's a weird camera angle too. And I was like, finally we get a 3rd down and then they get this fake punt. It's going to be one of those. Yep. But luckily they logged down again.
Yep.
Defense is elite. No,
they're not. We saw good things from the Titans special teams last week. Ryan Allen came in the Marcus Mariota 8 jersey, did a good job for the team punting the ball. He looked exceptional booting the ball down the field. And I got some not very kind comments about saying Brett Kern's on the hot seat. It was a joke, everybody. Brett Kern's an all-pro, Pro Bowl punter. He's elite.
Jokes, people.
But you love to see Ryan Allen come in and have success, no doubt. And then, yeah, he was the holder for Gostkowski in New England. They're familiar, and there were no mess ups on Gostkowski's plate, so that's always a positive. On the Colts side of the ball, they have at their punter Rigoberto Sanchez, and then one of my favorite kickers in the league, Rodrigo Rex Specs Blankenship. He just looks like a kicker out there. He's kind of short. He's got the specs on. He just fits the role perfectly, and he's been good for them. He's 17 and 19 on field goals this year, which, again, another stat you see as a Titans fan and you feel instant jealousy.
I'd love that. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping that this Titans special teams can have a repeat performance of last week. I thought they covered kicks pretty well.
Yeah. Cordell Patterson was shut down on kick returns, and he had like 3 or 4 kick returns. So yeah, no long ones given up to him.
So yeah, we'll call this one a push. I want to say, I mean, they probably have better field goal kicking tendencies, but you love to see that Ryan Allen success. So we'll call it a push for this.
I like our punting and our coverage, and Khalif Raymond flashed a little bit on punt returns, getting 40-something yards on 3 returns. So looking pretty good back there. I would call it a push. They get the field goal kicking advantage, but I like what I've seen outside of that from our special teams.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to get into some predictions, keys to the game?
We did a lot of pushes, but when I'm thinking about it, now that I'm thinking about it, that seems to be the case, at least in the first matchup against the Colts every season on Titans Tube. It seems like there's just 2 or 3 pushes, maybe 4 pushes, because these teams kind of neutralize each other in their strengths and weaknesses on paper, at least. But yeah, we can get into keys. Do you want to start us off, or do you want me to go?
Go for it if you got one ready.
I've got one ready, and it's kind of maybe oddly specific, but I look at, their front 7. I don't like that matchup for our offensive line and Henry, especially coming off of the Bears game. The passing offense, I love Tannehill, love Brown, Davis. I wonder if I doubt Humphreys won't be ready.
He's still in concussion protocol, yeah.
But, I look at their defensive backs. Xavier Rhodes, Kenny Moore are solid corners. So what I'm really looking at is I would like to see our tight ends test their linebackers in coverage. I think, Darius Leonard, Anthony Walker, I think they can cover. But, man, you got to love Jonnu Smith and that speed and physicality he brings. He's just a hard guy to cover. And Ferkser, being Ferkser, Ferk's down in it, left and right.
Hashtag Ferk's down.
Yeah, him and Tannehill seem to have great chemistry. I mean, he had 2 catches for 2 first downs. He did catch a ball that went for a loss. I forgot what that play was. But he had 2 good-looking catches that Tannehill just kind of put right on the money. So, they have some good chemistry there. I would love to see our tight ends come in and make a huge play if we're seeing some lackluster effort running the ball, or not effort, but production, running the ball. Yeah. And passing the ball to our wide receivers. I would love to see us test these linebackers in coverage too. I feel like that's kind of like the third Arthur Smith, go-to drawn-up play. If it's not run to Henry, get A.J. Brown or Corey Davis a pass. And then we'll start to see passes to a tight end or Jonnu Smith or something. So hopefully, and a key too is, I think, like I said it a little bit earlier, is to come to the game prepared to throw out some plays that we haven't run before. Maybe catch the Colts on their heels, get them uncomfortable, keeping them guessing about what we're going to do. Send Khalif Raymond down the field on some deep shots, just be kind of unpredictable and, just kind of show some new stuff. We're going to have to bring a lot to the table here going against this Colts defense, but I would love to see some tight end production. I guess this is a long-winded key to say I think I want to see some Jonnu Smith and Anthony Ferkser being very active in this passing game this week. So that's going to be my key, converting third downs into first downs, and then Jonnu Smith getting some big plays. And I think the Titans, I got to pick them. I got them taking this one by a score of 24-20.
Ooh, I like it. My prediction is going to be right in that neighborhood, I think.
Yes.
My key to the game, Justin, is there can't be any points left on the field. Harping back to that Cincinnati game, There were 10 points left on the field in the first 2 drives with a Tannehill end zone pick and a missed field goal by Gostkowski. That cannot happen against this Colts defense. Points are going to be at a premium. And, this Titans defense with a good performance last week is still shaky. So, we're going to have to put points. We can't leave any on the field. No missed kicks, no red zone interceptions. I mean, Tannehill has been good, but, that seeing it happen with my own eyes kind of scared me in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So can't leave any points on the field. Derrick Henry needs to be effective. He cannot be a disappearing act in this game. I've seen a lot of fans kind of talk trash on Henry. Yeah, he's the second leading rusher, but he leads the league in carries by a mile. I get that. That kind of criticism. But he cannot be a disappearing act in this game. He's going to have those chunk yardages. These drives are going to have to be sustained. We can't lean on A.J. Brown all game. It broke right before we'll see if Corey Davis is effective in this game. It broke right before we filmed. I'm not sure if you saw it, but Corey Davis's older brother died of cancer this morning.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that's going to be, we'll see how that maybe affects or does not affect this game. I mean, that sucks. And you got to, feel for Corey Davis heading into this one, but we'll see how that goes. But anyways, no points
dropped
left.
A bomb.
Sorry for dropping the bomb.
I don't want to do this preview anymore. Let's wrap it up. That's so sad. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he misses this game, totally understandable, obviously. So it's very possible that he's not going to be available. Goodness gracious.
But anyways, we'll hopefully, Corey Davis can be a factor in this game if he does play. Shout out to his family. No points left on the field at the end of this long-winded key as well from me. But I'm going to take the Titans in this game. I mean, a lot of advantages go to the
Back on the Titans train.
Back on the Titans train. I won't let the people down in this one. Back on the Titans train here. They're going to have to play a pretty mistake-free game. They're going to have to win that turnover battle, and they're number one in the league in turnover differential. So I'm going to take the Titans in this one. I'm going to go 28-23. We'll call it right in that kind of weird area. But yeah, you want to see the Titans defense build on the success they had on this week or had last week against the Bears. Keep that pass rush moving, get Phil Rivers to panic and throw you a couple picks like we said. So yeah, I like the Titans by 5 in this one.
All right. I'll take it as long as it's a W. I will take it any way we can get. Should be a good game, a good matchup. I'm excited about this one. Super nervous. I'm already getting like sweaty palms just thinking about it, doing the preview.
Yep.
It's keeping me up late at night.
I need a rag to dry off my hands.
It's keeping me up late at night. How's Derrick Henry gonna have success? Oh my God, we gotta throw the ball. We gotta do this and that. Oh man.
It's like that meme of the girlfriend sleeping, like, or he's probably thinking about other women, and you're standing up like Derrick Henry. How's he gonna find?
It's exactly what's going on with me. Yes, losing sleep over this game. But man, exciting matchup. It should be a great game. It's going to be close. I cannot envision a Titans or a Colts blowout, just because of their great defense and kind of lackluster offense. Going on both sides on the Colts there. They're great here, but lackluster there. I think that kind of keeps it in contention the whole time. So yeah, we'll see. It's probably going to be a team of whoever makes the least amount of mistakes, who leaves points off the board is probably going to be the team to come up short in this game, like you were saying. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Yep. First place in the AFC on the line.
Oh man, this is the game. I mean, Pittsburgh was the game a couple weeks ago, but now this is it.
And then in 2 weeks, it's going to be this game again. I mean, let's not forget, win or lose this game in 2 weeks, that game is going to be just as big. I mean, we're going to have to, at worst, split the series if we want this division, I think. But it's like if, in terms of this is such a huge game, that game in 2 weeks is going to be just as big, if not bigger, I think. So
for sure,
these next 3 weeks are going to be a huge telling test for this team.
No doubt. And I like the Titans in these slugfest kind of games. They've been good in the past couple of years, especially under the Mike Vrabel era, winning close games, winning these kind of blow for blow games, Kevin Byard said it's going to be a bloodbath, which, you know, I feel like every Titans Colts game is really competitive, really close. And yeah, whoever's going to make the least amount of stakes wins. Do you have anything to take us to the barn, Justin?
To the barn. I got us to tighten up. I got us a Go Titans, and all bow to the King and King 2, Desmond King.
Yes.
I don't know. I have nothing prepared, but guys, yeah, we have the Titans winning this game in a close one. How do you guys feel about this game? You can let us know in the comments below. I think we have like Colts fans that sometimes watch, because I've seen comments every now and then. They're like, hey, I'm a Colts fan, but I watch this channel. Titans suck, but you guys are cool. Go Titans. Go Colts. I'm like, okay, I know, but thank you. But okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Don't be intimidated with the Colts. Andrew Luck, bad boogeyman, is gone. Peyton Manning, bad boogeyman, is gone. We have Phil Rivers coming to town in a primetime game. I think, you know, despite what you see on paper, despite what you see in statistics, I think this is a winnable game for the Titans. Let's tighten up. Let's get a W. Shout out to Corey Davis and his family. Thoughts and prayers with him. But let's go get a win. Let's go get a win for Corey's family, and tighten up.
Tighten up, y'all. Enjoy the game.
Comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Have a great football weekend. Peace.
Peace.